Okay, guys, happy Friday. All right, here we go. We're going to start with Bitcoin. We'll cover the majors here. We'll take a peek at gold as well. So since I did the long-term, kind of out to the weekly long-term stuff last week, I'll just stay focused here on what I have as a current count. Now this, do I know this is the account? Of course not, right? There's no knowing. This can be counted a couple of different ways. I've seen some good Elliotticians count this as an impulse because since we don't overlap the 4 here, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be, almost doesn't matter. Whatever, we put in some sort of a short-term top in here, and then we've gone into now, right? Of course, this has changed as we've dealt with the price action here that we have an A, now the A, B, C into a B, we expand the B, and then we've come down. Now, are we done here? Well, it's not the cleanest of finishes here. That's a daily. Let's go to a 4 here. Maybe. It's kind of ugly, perhaps. Oh, let's see, what have I got on here? I've got that's just a big inside bar. We are still self-contained within this big drop candle here from the sell-off, from the bloodbath. Now, could it be we've got a diag coming out of here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it's possible, right? It wouldn't be what you'd hope for, because now if this is A, right, and again, do we know, right? Could we be done here? It would be over so abruptly here. So it looks like more probable there's an A. We've done a B here, although not a lot of great subdivision there in that B. A little bit bumpy there. Just a bit of a wag there, but the counts, it seems to imply that we've come down here aggressively. This is kind of a choppy retrace here. It's we don't see imbalances here, displacement. All of the displacements are on the sell-off. It suggests there may be one more push down here to grab some liquidity below before we go higher. Now, my view is here there's no particular edge here, no reason to be putting on a new trade as we sit here on a Friday afternoon. It's often the case, right, when I record these. What we do have to watch out for is the pivot lows down here. We don't want to see a break here that will invalidate any idea that we've got a 1-2. So anywhere down into this deeper area here, golden zone 707, 786, 764, 887, 886, all of those, that fib zone here. If we're coming down into any of this here, let's keep it right. Let's make it kind of a buy zone here. It's not an order block actually because there's no displacement, but all of this would be potential area for a load here into the idea that this is 1, A, B, C into it. The 2 down here would be very low risk. You'd have very clear exit points here, and you got to be careful here because this is obvious liquidity, right? So could you see, the push down here to grab? Do you think there's any stops down here? Yeah. So of course, what's more shocking here is they didn't get them here, right? So which leads to this. Do they need to come back and revisit? Well, it's going to, make the counts a little bit more challenging to make sense of. But we don't need to deal with that until we need to deal with it, right? So you don't need to forecast, they're going to sweep those lows, right? So as soon as you say, well, I'm sure they're going to come get them, right? They won't come get them. Well, it's just funny how the market has a way of reminding you, not to be predicting, right? Watch what the market does and then look for those areas where you feel like, right? Because in your own mind, do you feel like you have an edge, right? Based on how you view the market, your experience, what you back tested. Do you have an edge? Well, there are certain setups where you can be very deliberately logical about it, right? Can we use statistics to our advantage here? This is price action, price pattern recognition, which is, for the most part, what we're doing here. Because patterns tend to repeat, because people tend to do the same things with regards to fear and greed. That's what creates Elliott waves. So one more down here to get people freaked out. That may be an opportunity to get a little bit more long. But right now, I wouldn't short it, but I don't think we're at a ripe spot here to be buying. So I don't think there's a lot more to go into on Bitcoin. Again, since we did I went almost a half an hour last week on the longer term setups here. I think the alts look a bit more interesting. So let me pop over here. Hang on a sec. Now, Ethan, in fact, I'm seeing this potential, right? It's just potential ending count here, suggesting that the 4 could be in here. And we'll look at this in a couple of different assets, which looks like might be what we have here. So to draw it for you here, here's the 1, 2, 3 is in. We've done an A, B, C into a W. So it would be W into an X, and now we're going to triangle this Y, because this is, that's just the kind of thing we look at going, what the fuck? Oh, triangle. Right, so you've got a pretty good looking symmetry into this triangle, suggesting, actually, again, things can change, right? But right now, that looks like that's a candidate here for a pivot low. The technicals are good. We've come right into this. Well, we reclaimed that imbalance. We inverted the fair value gap here. So you've got decent setup here. Now, that's an 8 hour. If you want to come down to a 1, you'd like to see some displacement here come off of this. A little bit. We didn't get a good sweep of the obvious low here, but we did sweep here. So candidate. I don't know that I'd call that an order block just yet. Right? There's not. You might be able to talk yourself into it. I mean, this whole leg down here, we're from here, so we'd be accommodating here. But if we come in here, I'd actually put it down here, because we want to take advantage of that imbalance here, the displacement that comes off of it. So if we come all the way down here, that's a candidate for a bullish order block. If you coming down here again, I'm just using the wick because I want to take advantage of that order block, or excuse me, that displacement. So candidate here that we've got the E in, left an order block, right? Do we need to come back to it? Well, remains to be seen. Is that a 1? Well, it's a bit of a stretch. It really kind of defies much 1, 2. It's oh God, I hate to go below 60, but if you're digging out a count, sometimes you've got to do it. It doesn't have a lot of great pattern recognition. Really, you'd like to see this trend line get broken here. I'm not doing anything here just yet. Right, we're down to a 15. I really do not like. My strong advice is, unless you're really grinding out a count here, stay 60 minutes or above. Let the lower time frame do what it's going to do. This will show itself eventually. Again, this is you're estimating here. It has all the characteristics of a triangle in the right location for a triangle, but that's not what I would have wanted to see for the launch off of this, for the 4 to be in to get a good 1. So it makes me just cautious, right? I mean, if I see something I like, I'm very aggressive. If I don't, I'm very cautious, right? I don't like this enough. I'd encourage you to consider it the same way, because why would you buy it here? Well, I didn't want to miss it. I mean, there's plenty of bullish news happening in crypto, plenty. But why are we not, getting a launch today, right? We've got the Fed now pretty much, very, very strong anticipation that we're going to get at least 1, 2 rate cuts for the end of the year. Why is crypto not climbing? Could be he'll do it over the weekend, right? It's just you got to be patient. That's the thing about swing trading, right? I've kind of been trying to remind people about this, because people come to these videos, or whether it's members or people, new subscribers, people checking out our stuff. You got to be patient with swing trading, right? It can take weeks, if not months, for a trade to finally realize. So just remember, right? This is you're playing the long game here. So you get down to 15 minutes and below. As I like to remind people, that you're trading most directly against the algos there, right? And you cannot beat them. You will not. You cannot. Why are you trying to do it? It's just a fool's game, right? I just strongly encourage you to stay 60 minutes above, right, for your swing trading. Right? You're going to have better results. The challenge will be when you're right on something, or you've got something that's running, will be staying disciplined about your money management and not just freaking going, oh my God, I got a winner, and just grabbing profit, right? Of course, always a good idea to bank some profit along the way, but you've got to be patient, right? Leave those upper targets there, because you need them to offset all the times you're going to be wrong, and you will be wrong more than you're right. Everybody is. Okay, hang on one second. Now, for those of you that are being, very, you're really digging into the Elliott Wave here. So, I mean, it's tempting to look here and go, oh, it's an impulse, but really, you could do this as an ABC here. You really could. And we just take this down. I get a lot of commentary on my counts, right? So people that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C into that B. A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. Again, do I know that that's the correct count? No. There's no knowing. That's what I'm forecasting. Good candidate, but I want to see more here. Otherwise, if this rolls over, right, we got to reevaluate the entire thing. But right now, as it sits here, remember these videos or any wave count sitting here, it's a snapshot in time. Things could easily change. Right, but as I see it right here, at least that would be a count I would keep, somewhere. Right now, we still need to see something bullish come out of here. Some displacement, right? So that's a hold, right? Recognizing this count could change. Okay, let me keep moving. I'm going to move over to Solana and SUI. I want to stay with the majors. This one has gotten quite tricky here. I see no reason to change this just yet. It's still working on the premise here that we've got a leading diag going in on the idea that this would be a one wave of the fifth. So 3, 4 is in. We're doing a leading diag here. Oh, let's see. Let's open that up a little bit into the 1 of the fifth. 1, 2. Ooh, that's mighty close. Mighty close, right? For this to be. Oh God, let's see. I've got multiples up here. I think I had two counts here. They're on top of each other here. So for alternates here, 1, 2, 1, 2. Boy, it's skinny. It's legit, right? It's high enough. I mean, we don't sweep the low. So could it be? Now you'd have to check on other exchanges here, which is kind of the annoying thing about crypto. You will notice here that Al was involved here. So here's the swing, here's the retrace right into the golden zone. We don't get to target, right? So that's still, there's an algo that's still short. We'll stay short until we get there. The only way we get on the other side of it, we got to break him right here. But remember, once you break the first one, there'll be another one here, right? So this has to really start to launch. It's always frustrating for me when we don't have something really set up here on a, so we put these down here on a Friday, but we don't, right? That 1, 2, would you take that? So that you'd have to be trading this as 1, 2, 1, 2. Possibly you got another triangle going in here. A, B, C, D, E. But then you'd have to do it as W, X, Y. This certainly looks like it's impulsive. So the Solana is just kind of stagnating here, right? Again, you're on the low edge of value here. The implication would be we're going to travel to the other edge and before we get out of this box, of this value box, if you will. I'm drawing the low from here to give me that value area. It's, again, don't rush anything here. You're not going to miss anything. If it goes, right, there will be a retrace. You get plenty of resistance of above. That's not anything to say, well, I've got a very nice looking edge here, so I'm going to take that trade. If you're long, no reason to get out. If you're not long, no reason to get in. So that's a hurry up and wait. I know most of them are at this moment in time. After that big sell-off, right, the market's got to digest and recover this. Oh, I've got something trend line on here. All right, let's not get sidetracked. Okay, right, so 1, 2, could the 2, pardon me, 1 A, B, C be heading down here? It's the same kind of thing. You kind of have to wait here and just let this do what it's going to do. There's no edge. You're on the low edge, if you will, on the value area here. There's no particular reason to be a buyer. No particular reason to be a seller, right? You're kind of just in limbo here. It's a lot of hurry up and wait for crypto right now, whilst knowing that the macro background, all of the rails of crypto to be, continuing to essentially replace the legacy finance system here. All of those rails are going in. Massive amounts of money are being spent. It's a race between crypto and AIs for resources. That's going to be the competition. So I think you're okay to maintain a very bullish bias, but as we get to the TA, I mean, that's a daily chart. What's the reason to be a buyer there? There's not one, other than you're bullish long term, right? But there's no technical reason to be a buyer here. Got no advantage. There's no juice coming out of there. It's just, that's a hurry up and wait, much like so many of them. Okay, this may be a short one here. Hang on a sec. Let's take a peek at Cardano here. This is holding after the big sell-off here. So we have a nice looking corner here. So potential corner pocket going in, right? It's not always going to be golden, right? We're reacting off of the 50. Here's our target. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's candidate, right? Do we know that's going to play? No, we don't. But we do. We can look at this and say, well, okay, I've got a good corner here. Now, if that corner holds, we know, right? 80%, we get there. Doesn't mean, right? Again, I feel like I have to remind it all the time. 80%, not 100%. But not a bad place to take a trade there, right? If you're bullish on Cardano. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, fuck me. Where'd it go? Along here, right? So we get in here. Stop under the low. First, always a good idea, right? As I was just talking about swing traders looking for locations to take partials. Always a good idea, right? That would be a very reasonable spot to take a partial because we know there's liquidity there. So would not be uncommon for the market to come up here, sweep that, and then start the retrace. Because if this is going to go as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's just the kind of location where you would see a sweep of liquidity, to take out the shorts, right? Take their stops, retrace. Maybe there's an imbalance here, and then you get your opportunity to get into the third of the third. Maybe you get the median line sooner. I'm trying to do. Maybe you get it here on your third leg, so you bank some profit here. You could reload here. I wouldn't take it all here because you don't know, right? You don't know you don't know. They could go after this or this, right? But that's a reasonable spot because you're tapping the median line here, so you can anticipate a reaction. It would cook the 80%, right? Again, that's one-time use, but you could draw another one, right? Or just put a channel on it, right? That geometry is so critical to a good Elliott count, so don't forget that part. Okay, so the very reasonable, very low risk here. I mean, when you got there, just to that, it's 5 to 1. Leverage, it's up to the individual, right? We get all the way up to our target up here. There's 17 to 1, which is why you want to leave a little for a runner. Because if you took it here, right, you're like, oh man, nice trade. Oh, I got that. And then you watched it do that, and you didn't participate in any of this. You don't need to get, swing low to swing high, but the meat of it, that third, that's where you want to get it, right? So if you can get the third of the 1, if this is a 1, remember, none of this is optional, right? This has to give you a 5, right? So if you can get the third of this one, or ride all the way up here to the obvious liquidity location, right? Those are high class decisions here, but you don't want to let that happen and not be there. Okay, let's. What else do I have? Oh, let's take a look at Link here. And we'll finish with XRP. Now, this is a controversial count. Some of my Elliott wizards disagree with this count. They're telling me it's invalid. I'm not such a purist that I won't trade what I see. So this is a candidate here for a diag, right? We've had a very deep, obviously we've retraced here, but you'll note from the swing loan here, we go right to the golden zone. Surprising 0 people that follow me or any of my members, right? So, I mean, if you're here and you've drawn that and you're like, oh, I wonder where that's going. Do we not have a golden corner? We do. Now you could do this 2 ways, right? You could do it here, right? Now that's going to give you, the target's not going to be as steep, but this might be too much, right? So you could do it either place, but this is where you're drawing the golden zone from, right? It's the start of the 1 through the pivot of the 3 down to the golden. So once again, there was, right? But you would have to have been buying the sell-off here, but do we still have something here? Right? Possibly, right? We get up here and get that algo target. ABC, this is, you can ABC into the X. I know probably be a few Elliottians disagree with me there, but I think that's tradable. Now, do you want to be trading right there? Well, what am I on, 8 hour? Let's go to a 4. It's the same idea. I would want to see some impulsive price action here, some displacement. A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. It's a little, it's a bit of a wag. But what else are you going to call it? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Right? It looks to me like that's a candidate. Again, Elliottians, right? It's okay to disagree. I'm never here to tell you my count is the right count. It's a count that I think has potential. And then is the risk reward worthwhile? Is there enough juice in it, right, to take the risk? Well, here you'd want to have, you want to adjust your size accordingly. Put your stop under the low because, right, one tick under it invalidates not only would stop the algo out, but it invalidates the golden corner. So there's no need to be, giving it room down to the lows. Okay, right. So I've got one of my wizards telling me why this is invalid. Hang on. Yeah, so mid video here, one of my Elliott wizards here is telling me why this is invalid. I'm going to trade it anyway. Right? I mean, Elliott Wave shouldn't rule your life, right? It's a tool. I don't see anything like better, but apparently, again, I hire these guys and pay them for a reason. If we're going to do a diag, I can't have this sideways correction, but. All right, so there you go. Right, so this is breaking a rule. Your choices here are no trade, or if we get something impulsive here that leaves some displacement, perhaps take the second leg looking for that. All right. I mean, again, I hire these guys because they're all better Elliotticians than I am. I've just been trading longer, right? So, okay, right. So, if you don't like it, if you're a Elliott purist, you may want to skip that one. Let's see. Did I get everybody there? I got Cardano. Oh, XRP. Let's take a peek at XRP. This continues to be the trickiest one. Now, I fully recognize that my bias here is influenced by the size of my position here, and I'm, fortunate to be long from much lower here in a pretty big position, right? So this price action here doesn't. I don't react emotionally, right? I'm looking at that, but if you look at it here now, I'm in log scale, right? We're just that's a whole. We're just looking at the volume profile, right? It's just a whole lot of sideways consolidation here, which would suggest one of two possibilities here, because we did the same thing down here. Whether we do it here, we could do it here. Same idea. Accumulation, expansion. Is it distribution, or are we reaccumulating, right? There's a very real potential here that the next leg is higher after this. This is all continued accumulation before the next leg goes higher. Now, that's my opinion. I think the macro backdrop does offer that. Now, it looks very different, right? This is the issue, right? Log or arithmetic. Take it out of log scale, and the idea of a 1 2 1 2 or 1 WXY. It's tricky, right? So because we don't have clarity either way. So I've actually got two counts in here, two ways you could call it. Oh shit, where are they? Oh, here's the idea of a 1 2. 1 2 3 4 5. This is going to be WX trying to find a Y down here. Oh shit, I thought I had this. There we go. W, A, B, C, X, A, B. That wick, right, of course, makes it very difficult to have a whole lot of conviction in what we've got here, because it distorts the count so much. But what didn't change here is that we went below the value area, but now we're right back, at a high volume node. We're right back at damn near in the middle of it. POC is below, right? We're above the POC. Is it 1 2? Well, again, if you're out of log scale, oh yeah, of course it's 1 2. But right, I mean we're going from 38. We're 10 times the range, right? So you've got to look at it in log scale. So what's the alternate here? If it's not going to be, let's take that off, right? If it's not going to be that, then your alternate is here. Put this here, which I'm hopeful for, right? That we've still got another leg up here for the potential 5. So 1 2 3, we're going to go WXY, and this only looks more probable when you're in log scale, given where we are. Now, the length of time relative to the 2, little bit of a stretch. Sure looks better here. But we can't, ignore the fact that we had that liquidation wick. But we got to come out of here aggressively. There's got to be some recovery here. There's got to be signs of, even if we go down to a 4 here, there's really nothing suggesting, oh, it's go time. Where are you going to put it? 1, 2. That looks like 5, right? It's a very tricky call here. So if you're positioned from a, I'm fortunate, right, to be in much lower rate. I don't think there's any reason to do anything. I wouldn't be adding here either. What's your edge? Even if I go here, okay, 1, 2. If we finish, right, if the Y's in here, which could be 1, 2, it still need something to come out of there aggressively, and we're just not getting it yet. Just all again yet inside 1, 2, maybe. ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that Al? Probably. Of course it is. Of course it's Al. Right. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's a little hopium there. I wouldn't. I'm not adding. I don't think there's any reason to. I'm not worried about missing something. Well, again, I'm pretty long. Okay. Let me. What do I have? We got Link. I got XRP. Hang on. All right, let's finish up with a look at gold here. All right, so this is, well, I mean, just an unbelievable rip here. Now the question is, right? Have we topped? Right? There's a lot of people suggesting we've topped, and we're going to see rotation from gold into Bitcoin, maybe. But as I look at this, again, I'm not here to tell you my count is right. This looks to me like we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are still yet to come, and this is so technical. It's astonishing, right? So this would be an area here for a 4. Where's the high probability location? Between 23 and 38. So somewhere in this range down here. What would that be? 3,500, right? If we're going to make a deeper retracement, or 4,100 here. So no signs of that really getting underway here. Now I'm on a weekly chart here, where you kind of have to look at this. So we're coming off of the low here, 1, 2. It's hard to argue with that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, things that don't happen randomly, right? We come down for this 4, we don't overlap the 1, and then we get the rip here. Hard not to anticipate that as a 5. If you're on the weekly, again, the higher the time frame, the more obvious the Elliott. If that's 1, 2. Well, there's no other count here that makes sense. You can't go 1, 2, 3. No, that's not going to work. Plus, this is you got to see this here. So, if we put this channeling on it, so you might look at this and go, oh, okay, well, if that's 1, that's 2. Wonder how that was technically. Right? If I pull the low here into the 1, into the 2, I can't make this shit up. So there's one that that's right 50 to the tick, right? Well, here's the first target, second target. Now I've got a channel on this, but of course you would have a corner pocket here as well. It's not a golden corner, but you've got a corner pocket. Wonder how that did. Let's hide the channel for a second. Hide that. Put that over here. Did we or did we not have a corner pocket here? We had our 80% right there. I don't know how many times I've shown that, but probably enough to where I hope that you all start paying attention to those. I mean, do every one of them hit their? No, of course not. I mean, when do we do that? On a weekly chart. That's 2016. I've told you this before. I've seen them take 6-7 years, right, to get there. How many years to get there? 9. 9 years to realize that, right? Which is why, could you have stayed long? Of course not. Who stays long? Algos. Who creates the algos? Hedge funds. You think they caught that ride? Yeah, they did. Pretty remarkable. Down here, you had your 80% odds. All you had to do, right, stop below the pivot. That's why I would encourage you to keep taking this. So here, 80% is realized. So we don't need that anymore. It can be a good guide, right, if we start to retrace, which is why I put the channel back on. So that's out. Oh, where's my channel? Where'd you go? Oh, shit. Oh, there it is. Now it's on. I'll get you out of here. All right, so channel's back. All right, so I've got a nice 1, 2, 3. Went a couple of ticks from the negative 1618. Right, second target here from the 50. So good 3 candidate for the 4 to come back here. Maybe the midline of that channel. A reasonable target. You'd have down a degree to 3, 4. Maybe you got a little. Here if you're looking, you'd have a high volume node here. You'd have a candidate here, and then if we go back to what we were looking at before, which was if we're pulling from the 2 through the 3 as a candidate for the 4, and we put our wave 4 template on there, well, see how that lines up kind of nicely. So any sort of retrace here in gold, which of course you'll have gold's over, right? Is it? So 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3. Looks like 4 or 5 still yet to come. I wouldn't bet against it. Why would you? Are you going to short that? Short term, right? There's probably some opportunity there, but why would you not look for the potential hit here? I mean, that could be 5,600, 5,800, somewhere in that range, $6,000. See, there's no reason not to anticipate that. Now, it's not that, the market must do that. It's never what we're saying. But there's no reason not to anticipate that. Well, first, we got to see that's going to be a pretty steep, we're going to run a weekly. That could be 28, 29, right? This again, when you're looking at a weekly, you got to keep in mind the time frame. You look at that, maybe a couple of weeks. No, that's a couple of years. This was 9 years in the making to hit that median line. So keep the time frame in. Just don't forget when you go out to these longer term charts and you're looking at these. Oh my God, look how great this looks. Boy, this Elliott, boy, really easy out here. Yeah, it is. But look how long you got to wait for that. It could be 2 years before we get the 4. So just a few reminders. Okay, there you go, guys. Hope that helps. Right, if you want to dig into this kind of methodology, right, which there's. May not be the most perfect Elliottian, but I'm going to keep you out of bad trades best I can. And again, Elliott is just one of the cornerstones of our methodology, right? There's really 4 pieces to it. And if you want to learn any of that, you can always come over to TradeDevils.com, right? We've got lots of ways you can participate and develop your skill set here if that appeals to you, right? Hopefully every week the point of doing these videos here is just to demonstrate, right? All I'm doing is demonstrating what we're going to teach you. Let you decide whether or not there's enough value there to support even a small investment. If not, right, you want to just check us out, you can always just come into the Discord. We've got free white belt. We've got free ways for you to get involved and then see, right, okay, do I like this place? Are these people helpful, right? What do the other members say? As I like to remind people, don't take my word for it, right? I ask the other members. Okay, guys, there you go. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you next week.